What is up, everybody? I have a guest today. He's going to tell you about himself, the things that he has going on in the fiction world, and he's also going to tell you some of the things that he has going on outside of what he does with books. But there's a unique twist to about a writer and about a person who reads books. They're very intelligent. They speak very well about themselves and about people that's in their space. So you need to get your notepad out. You need to get your pen out. You need to get your mindset and whatever you want to eat and drink, make sure that it does not disturb what you're about to hear from our next guest. So the next voice you're getting ready to hear is going to be from my guest here on Based Off Characters today. It's on you.
Hey, how you guys doing? Thank you for having me on. My name is, as you said, I'm Antwan Floyd Sr. Um, I write crime fiction novels, detective novels. I've been writing since 2009 when I published my first book, and I first started off doing urban fiction. Then I kind of pivoted to writing detective novels, and that's what I've been doing since ever since.
All right. So my first question here is you kind of brought it up with something I was going to say myself. So you started with urban fiction
Mhm.
and now you're into crime fiction. Why the transfer between one to other and the other?
Okay, so when I first started, and even today, it feels like, even though I don't read the genre as much, but
Hmm.
when I first started, it felt like it was oversaturated with those types of books. It was
Mm,
really heavy abundance of everybody writing urban fiction, which is
mm,
good because I'm all for more more black authors putting their stories out there. But I felt like I didn't have much room to stretch my legs, and I've been a fan of detective novels and love detective shows and movies and everything of that genre. And I started researching. Back then, I couldn't find as many black people who wrote those type of books. That's a lot more now, but that's what made me want to get into it because I like writing it. I mean, I like reading it, and I wanted to get away from urban fiction, and it wasn't a lot of us writing it. So that's what got me into making my big switch.
okay. So give the audience maybe somebody like an author or a certain book that kind of got your mind going in the direction of crime fiction.
Um, well, I would say Walter Mosley.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you
It's
know, and if people are not familiar with who he is, you might be familiar with the woman in the blue dress with
yep.
no, the devil in the blue dress. I'm
Devil,
sorry,
devil.
devil in the
Mhm.
blue dress. The movie Denzel Washington was in. He played Easy Rawlins. That's based on a series written by Walter Mosley. So he's one of my favorite authors. So I would say him. Um, he doesn't really write detective novels, but I would say Eric Jerome Dickey. He one of my favorites. So books. I mean, or should I say authors of that caliber? That's what got me really into one. Who I model myself after a little bit.
Okay, okay. So if I was going to go on Amazon or somewhere and I see your first crime fiction book, what will be the title of it? And tell me what I will get from the first 3 pages of your book.
Oh, so it's called Peacekeeper, a Black Love Detective Story, Book One. So with the first 3 pages, the way I like to write is that I like to hook people in. So the first 3 pages, something is gonna happen, and you're gonna spend the rest of the book trying to find out why that thing happened that happened in the first 3 pages.
Okay, nice, nice, nice. All right, so the next thing I want to ask about your writing style. So, when you get ready to start writing, and you're getting ready to put it on the page, whatever idea is, are you writing from the first person perspective or are you writing from the third person perspective?
Uh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I write from the third person perspective. Um, I like to stay in the the main character's head.
Okay.
So I don't what they call head hopping. That's when you write about what every character is thinking about. So I like to
Hmm.
just stay with the main character. He is the narrator.
I like that. Okay, I like that style. I like that.
Hmm.
Well, I especially like crime fiction. And when you talked about Walter Mosley, you got one of the icons of crime fiction or detective fiction. I know he's kind of written different type of things here.
Hmm.
But let me ask you about a possible lady. This is for the lady authors here. Is there somebody out there that you have read or someone that kind of inspired you from the lady's perspective?
Hmm. That's a good question. And I have read some, and I cannot remember their names right now because I specifically was looking for black authors and a lot of women writing this genre. And I cannot remember her name. Um, I know she had it's called like the Dre series. I read like three of her books. Um,
Hmm.
I could probably Google it, but it's called the Dre series. She wrote about um a woman who's a lawyer, and I'm gonna say her name is Kelly Ann. I think her name is Kelly Ann. But
Okay.
um, the main character is a woman. She's a detective. I mean, a lawyer. In each case, she ends up solving it from a lawyer's point of view. But the one of the main characters over each book, his name is Dre. He's like her boyfriend, and they end up working the case together. Like he works the angles like from the street, but she works the angles from the courtroom.
Hmm.
So that's the dynamic of those stories.
Okay. Kelly Ann. Okay.
I think that's her
That was
name.
okay. Okay. So let me get into about this book fest. Tell us about what you're involved in with the book festival.
Um, so it is in Decatur, Alabama, and I plan to have 10 to 15 authors there. They're gonna
Okay.
all have a little panel and speak, say who they are, why they write, what genre they write in, and of course they're gonna sell their books. I
Hmm.
want to have people like readers come in and they pay an admission fee, but with the admission fee,
Okay.
you get a free copy of one of my titles, Dope Fiction, Alpha Female, and lunch. And I just
Oh,
want to make it like a intimate setting where people get to really know the authors and the authors get to build with the readers because
okay.
it's been my experience from going to these events. It's not just selling your books to these people. You want to build a relationship with them and they won't mind getting your email letters because you already built some type of bond with them.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Now, I lived in Alabama for a few years when I was in college, and if anybody's going to be in Decatur, it's actually a cool town. It's not anything big, but it's not anything too small. So you can enjoy yourself in the countryside. I think isn't Decatur, you go over that big bridge, they're going into there from over the water
To be
to
honest,
get in.
I have never been there.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, so this is something new for me. So I remember a few years ago, um, David Banner, the rapper
Yep.
David Banner,
Yep.
he was doing some kind of tour. I don't know if it was for his music or whatever, but he said
Mm-hmm.
something that was kind of profound to me. He might have just been lecturing. He might have been lecturing, but he said something that was profound to me. He said that he goes to towns where it's predominantly black people at, but are
Mm-hmm.
often overlooked.
Mm.
So I was like, that kind of makes sense to me. So I
I like
wanted
that.
to. So I that's what made me look up Decatur, Alabama. Well, I looked up Alabama, period. But I know a lot of people probably want to go to like Montgomery or what's the other big one out there? Um,
Birmingham.
Birmingham, yeah. But I know how these like Decatur, more than likely, from what I'm looking at from the map, it's probably one of those like little suburban towns that's kind of close to the big towns. So that's why I chose there. So I'm like, maybe I can touch some people who normally wouldn't have people come out there.
Right. Well, shout out to Huntsville. Shout out to Athens. They all muscle shoals. They're all around in the same area. So if you're into books and you're into wanting to know a little bit about crime fiction and some various other authors, hey, your fest will be the place they need to be at. Now, what date is this going to be on?
It is February 15th.
Also, it's still got quite a bit of time. So it's just going into the new year. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, all right. You never know. I might just pull up right down there and slide into there because I go through that area sometimes on my
Okay.
travels down south. So yeah, absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely. All right. So tell us a little bit about the next book you're about to write or you're working on.
So, um, right now I am working on the seventh book in my series. It's
Hmm.
called Murder in Frogtown, Black Love Detective series, book
Okay.
eight. I'm sorry, book seven,
So,
and it takes place in St. Paul, Minnesota. Frogtown is a community in St. Paul, and the story is about the main character, Black Love. That's the name of the detective. Black
mm,
Love. He follows somebody from Chicago because most of his stories take place in Chicago. That's where he's based. So he follows somebody from Chicago to Minnesota, and it's supposed to be just an infidelity case, but he gets wrapped up in a murder. So that's why it's called Murder in Frogtown.
okay. Nice, nice. I like that idea.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So let's get into a couple other things here. Um, so on social media, you have a lot of authors promoting themselves
Mhm.
in various different ways. Some people have their face, they hold the book up. Some people will show the video of themselves actually writing out the book. You also have some people they shows themselves kind of behind the scenes when they're out and just doing like blog style, and then just boom, they promote a book. What if someone visit your social media? What do you think they're gonna see?
Hmm. Um, excuse me. On my social media, I mostly post um, pictures of myself at different events,
Hmm.
um, engaging with readers. They might find copies of my books when I post pictures of what my book covers look like. They might find snippets of my books because I post some chapters for people to get a taste of what I wrote, and if they like it, then they can click the link and go and get it. They
Okay.
might find a link to my newsletter, so they can go on there and subscribe. So those are some of the things that you might find. You go to my social media.
Okay. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. So we come to the segment of this interview. It's usually the fun segment here, as I call it, the little bit of a different turn to it. So I'm gonna ask you some questions here, and I'm gonna kind of put the scenario out there. I just want to get the first thing that comes to your head. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna do a two-part thing here first. So the first thing here is, do you drink alcohol or water while you're writing?
Water.
Water. Okay. Favorite thing to eat while you're in a writing session? Would it be pizza slice or would it be a hamburger if you had to choose one?
A hamburger.
Hamburger. All right. All
Yeah.
right. If you had to write outside, would you rather write on the beach or would you rather write by the lake?
By the lake.
Hmm. Okay. All right. If you had to travel, which way would you prefer to travel? By cruise boat or by plane?
Plane.
All right. If you had to rewrite any fiction book, let us know what that fiction book would be.
Something that someone else wrote.
That's someone else wrote, not you.
Um. Ooh. I don't know. Um. mm, I really like. And I don't even know if this falls in that genre or not. But I really like.
Okay.
Um. Eric Jerome Dickey's A Wanted Woman.
Hmm. I wanted one. Okay. All right. All right. Name a movie that you have seen more than once. If it came on TV tonight, that you would watch it, what would that be?
First thing that come to mind is Hoodlum.
Hoodlum, Hoodlum. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna go a little urban picture here movie.
Okay.
Boys in the Hood or Minister Society?
Boys in the Hood.
Mm, no hesitation there. Okay.
Yeah. I as I got older, I realized Minister Society, nobody in that movie can really act. It's only two people in that movie can act for real. Jada Pinkett and Charles S. Dutton. Nobody can act.
Okay.
Lorenz Tate, he can act.
Okay. Hmm. All right. I feel that. I feel that. If you had to take a soundtrack from any movie, what soundtrack would that be?
Hmm. So two things popped in my mind. First was um the song R. Kelly made for Shaft, Bad Man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a full soundtrack. So
Yep.
in my mind, the best soundtrack ever made was the soundtrack for New Jack City.
Okay. New Jack City, best soundtrack ever made. Ooh.
They have hit
All right.
after hit after hit. I have to say either that or the soundtrack for Purple Rain.
Okay. Well, that kind of didn't ruin my next question, but it brings up my next question. Better movie. Better movie. New Jack City or Juice?
Ooh, I don't know. They both kind of neck and neck for me because I will watch both, but neither are
Hmm.
really like my favorite.
Okay. All right. We're gonna go. Let's go into a little bit of rap here. Master P or Birdman?
All right, Master P.
Master P. Okay. 8 Ball or MJG?
8 Ball.
Okay. Andre 3000 or Big Boy?
3,000.
3000. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I hate to ask this, but I'm gonna ask it. Dolph or Gotti?
Oh, Gotti.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Rick Ross or Trick Daddy?
Ooh, that's a hard one. That's a hard one. Uh, that's a hard one.
Or you can
Mm.
take a or you can take a pass here. You can take a pass.
um, I'm gonna go with. Ooh, that is a hard one. I'm gonna go with Trick Daddy.
You know, Trick. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Trick.
Okay. I'm gonna throw a lady. I'm gonna throw some ladies out there. I'm gonna see what you got. Mia X or Lady of Rage?
Mia X. She is
Okay.
underrated.
Definitely. Definitely. Eve or Remy Ma?
Eve.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Remy, I don't think she's ever held her own by herself.
Okay. That's fair.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I
fair.
can't think of one song where she held her own by. She killed when she on songs with other people, but I've
Yeah.
never heard her do anything where she just held her own by herself. I think she a feature artist.
Mm.
She kind of like Birdman. Like I listen to Birdman, but I ain't gonna listen to a Birdman song by itself.
All right. All right. Ice Cube or Scarface?
Ooh, now that one is hard.
Oh,
I'm gonna go with Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. Okay.
Yeah.
He probably done a little bit more, just mainstream wise, probably.
So the reason why I say Ice Cube, and it could have went either way. So my favorite, you named some people. So my favorite
Hmm.
3 hip hop albums of all time:
Okay.
Ice Cube, Death Certificate, 8 Ball and
Mm.
MJP, Coming Out Hard,
Okay.
and the Ghetto Boys, The Resurrection. I can
The
listen to
Ghetto
all.
Boys, brother. Oh, okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
The Ghetto Boys. I feel you on that. I feel you on that. But here's my thing with that.
Okay.
Can you name 3 songs on the Ghetto Boys Resurrection that people would know?
No,
The average.
no.
See,
Average
that's
people.
the
No.
average people. And I get it. I like that album too. It's just that I feel like the greatest album, in my perspective, somebody's got to know at least a couple of songs, and
Okay.
it still have all them other classic underground hits.
See, I get
Even though
where
I
you're coming
love,
from. I get
hmm?
where you're coming from with that, but my reason behind it is because of the content. You know what I'm saying? So the Resurrection and Death Certificate were both on the same level as far as more of a conscious rap. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Okay,
why they were my favorite. But 8 Ball and MJG, that was just straight street stuff. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
in my opinion, all 3 of those albums, I could listen to them straight and not skip one song.
okay,
But no, I can't. I can't name. Only song they might know of that album is "The World Is a Ghetto." They might know that.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the only other ones that are all like good songs, but there never was another big hit like for real.
Right.
I can't. I ain't listened to it in a long time. So, all right, it's gonna get a little tougher here. Okay,
Okay.
T.I. or Luda?
Ti.
Hmm, okay, wow. It didn't take you long to say that. Okay. At Ti, I like Tip. I like Tip. He's a guy here.
I like him too. I like Luda too, and Luda is underrated. He's underrated, but as far as the content, I like Tip better as far as what he talks about. But
Hmm.
Luda is really lyrical. He's really lyrical.
Okay. All right. Two-part question. Well, Ti, hey, Tip lyrical too. Now he dropped some gas too. Now
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna sit
know,
there
I
and
know,
just.
I know. He ain't gonna slouch. I know that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I chose him over Luda. But when I say lyrical, I mean more along the lines of like more like he used a lot more metaphors and stuff. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So that's what I meant by that. But I know Tip ain't no slouch. You know what I'm saying? He definitely hold his own.
Okay. Two-part question. Better actor, Tip or Luda?
They're about neck and neck. Cause I
Okay.
don't. To be honest, the only really good role I ever seen Tip in was ATL. Everything else been kind of like, eh. And I never seen Luda in anything good. All his roles been like minor roles.
Yeah. Okay. Gucci or Jeezy?
Jeezy.
Mm. Dang,
Yeah,
you take.
that whole
Okay.
snowman.
Yeah. That mixtape he came out with first, that Ride or Die. Yeah, that's one of the greatest mixtapes of all time. I just
Yeah.
okay. Jay-Z or Nas?
Uh Jay-Z.
Okay, give me explain why.
Um I like Nas, but in my opinion, I feel like Nas is overhyped. Um Most of his albums, I like some of the songs, but it's only like one or two albums to me where I can listen to them straight through. You know what I'm saying? My opinion, I feel like he overhyped. I feel like Jay Z has a better discography. So
I think Jay-Z's catalog's better just with the mainstream, and Nas's beats and the popularity of the songs is not as big because of what his how the producers or how he picked his songs. I think if you would really want to get into the depth of a rapper and come up with a creativity of the song just from the basic beat, then Nas got it. Jay-Z's well, he's more popular rapper.
yeah, yeah,
So
I
I
would
can
agree with
feel that.
that. I would agree with that. But I look at it like this too. The way that you phrase that, the beats do make a big difference for me. Because to me, like if we go back to No Limit,
Mm-hmm.
Cain and Abel, they were two of the best rappers over there to me. But they always had the worst albums because I felt like they weren't good at picking beats.
They had beats by the pound. They had in-house. You don't think those
I
beats
know
were
they had beats by the pound, but they still had to choose the beats they want to rap over. So those are the type of beats that they liked. But for me, I don't think they rapped over good beats. Those are the beats that they liked, but I don't think that was probably the best beats that, in my opinion, that Beats by the Pound had.
okay?
You know, that's just my opinion on it. But I thought they was some of the best lyricists over there. But when I listen to their albums, I just didn't like their beat selections.
Okay. All right, I respect that. So let's go to a couple more here, and we're gonna go to some authors. And I'm
Okay,
gonna make this. I'm gonna make this a little hard for. It's gonna be hard. Maybe, maybe not. You ready?
I'm ready.
Um, we're gonna start with Donald Goins or Carl Weber.
Donald Goins, definitely.
Okay. We're gonna go to a couple. I'm gonna ask you this. I'm not sure if you know them, but I do. I follow them.
Ashley or Jaquez?
Ashley, okay. Ashley or Jaquavis Coleman.
I've never read any of their I've never read any of their books.
Okay.
Like I'm familiar with who they are. Never read.
Yeah.
I've been saying I want to read them books for years, but I never read them.
Got started a cartel. Oh, you gotta go there. That's a good one.
It's like
Okay.
7 or 8 of them, right? And they have spinoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a lot
Mm.
of spinoffs. So let's go. My last one here, and you name both of them. Walter Mosley or Eric Jerome Dickey.
I'm gonna go with Walter Mosley.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Walter
Okay.
Mosley. Only because he is still alive and he's still releasing stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, this comes to the segment here. You get a chance to ask me a question.
Okay. All right. So the question I want to ask you is, what drives you to want to do this?
Okay. So I'm gonna answer this like this here. I'm not gonna because I have another podcast. It's a sports podcast and it's football. But when I was writing, I was thinking of a way to connect to the people. And when I take a break from writing, so what better way to get a take a break, but then also get a chance to connect than to interview someone who's doing something similar to me, i.e., like how I ask you. So I feel like this helps me as I get really connect with another author to kind of get their views and their points, kind of how they get into their creative space, seeing what they like, seeing what they don't like, and to have them talk about their book while I talk about mine. And then also, I joined a writing group years ago, and I always ask questions. They said, "You always ask really good questions. You should do interviews." So I wrote a scene one time where a person was getting interrogated and asking the questions. And then I just kind of fell in love with asking people questions and hearing their responses. I listen to a lot of interviews online. I follow our podcasts that have interview style questions, interview style podcasts where they
Right.
ask a lot of good questions and just entertaining to me. So that's kind of how I got here.
Okay. All right. All
Okay.
right. Cool.
Well, this gives you a chance to go out and shout out some of the people you want to shout out. Drop your you can tell your your handles to your how the people can get to your books, how they can contact you on social media. So this is your time to do that right now.
Okay. Um, well, if you want to reach me, you can find me across all social media. Just put in my name, Antwan Floyd Sr. It's the same across all social media. If you're interested in attending my event, you can go to my website. It's crimefictionmedia.com. The link to get to the event is gonna pop up right there on the front on the first page.
Okay.
Um, Shout outs to your listeners for sitting through this interview and listening to it when they do. Um, Shout out to you and other people like you who have a passion for the written word
Okay.
and and yeah, that's about it. That's all my shout outs and everything and my what I want to get out there to the people.
Well, I'm definitely want to shout out you because you answer those questions, especially when we got to the music and also the authors. You know what you like. That's really
Mhm.
good. Even though you're not disrespecting them by saying, "Oh, I like them over the other," because you like both the artists, but you
Right.
kind of explain why you chose that one over the other. I appreciate you doing that, man. Because
Thank you. I
some
appreciate
people
it.
So because some people get up here and they'll be doing and it's hard. 'Cause I get it when you're trying not to,
Yeah,
disrespect anybody, but it's all fun,
offend.
Yeah, yeah. So, tell the
Yeah, because
audience
I
about.
used to I used to not be a no, I was about to say I used to not be a Dolph fan. I just started listening to Dolph.
Okay, well, let's get into that real quick here. I like Dolph. I feel like
Mhm.
I like Gotti too. I actually met Gotti. He gave me his first CD live, with Life. It had the DVD in there, right?
Right.
I don't know if you remember the first one. And he seemed cool, like, whatever. I never actually met Dolph, but I felt like I met him through interviews because he
Okay.
seemed like the cats I kind of grew up with.
Hmm.
Now, there's a lot of stories out there because I follow a lot of the podcasts, especially when he got, shot, especially even the first time. I was like, man, this probably gonna end bad, man, one way or the other.
Hmm.
And for two talented people that could not figure out how to get along, it shouldn't end that way.
Yeah,
Same thing.
I don't be understanding that when I feel like the whole purpose of doing the music and the other ventures that you do was to get away from that. So I don't understand the issue with taking it that far. That's my whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems counterproductive to me. It makes no sense. Especially when you don't have to be around each other. I can understand if you in the streets and y'all in the same area, y'all can't help but bump into each other. Y'all both out there getting money, so you don't have to be around each other. So that's the part I don't get when not just them, but I'm talking about other famous people, like the whole thing with what just happened with Dirk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like you don't have to be around these people.
that's where your mind, you gotta really think. You gotta really think about these things, and people gotta come together. So these bad business deals don't end up spilling out, affecting the streets and affecting other people.
Hmm.
And I think when you look at Gotti and Dolph, I thought, go back in my era, I thought about Jeezy and Gucci. I
Right.
thought that was gonna get bad. It did. It
It
just so
did get
happened
bad.
to, yeah. It just so happened one went to jail, one got a little more reasonable, and then I feel like they kind of squashed it in their heads before it got too bad.
No, it did get bad. Cause remember,
What?
Gucci ended up popping.
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah,
did. Yeah.
he took him out.
Yeah.
But it was self
It did.
defense. But it was self
It
defense.
did. But I mean, I'm saying to the extent where I guess it didn't. I guess what it did was it woke our eyes up because we all grew up in the era of Tupac and Biggie.
Hmm.
We seen that neither one of them here no more.
Right.
Now we got that, but it didn't affect the artist. It affected someone else
Hmm.
outside of artists. Then it come back full circle again with Dolphin Gotti affected the artist. One's gone, one's not here. So that's something that we have to figure out, that we can't keep having this here because we're affecting business, money, families, everything. And you know, I guess for the Dolph side of it, I just wish someone could have got them together and said, "Hey, man, we can run this whole thing together, or we just don't fool with each other no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just stop this."
Hmm.
But I feel like we just our community is not as strong as it need to be to do that. That tells you it's not.
And I don't know. It also has to do with the people you keep around you.
Yeah,
If you are a hothead, you need to keep somebody around you who's more level headed, who you respect, that's gonna calm you down. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
you I don't know. People just need better people around them. I think a lot
Mm,
of problems happen because you're not there mature. You're not mature enough yet there mentally, and you have somebody else around you who either don't care or they're not mature enough either to put you back in your place where you need to be to not mess everything up. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about like your whole life.
yeah. I mean, we just got to do better, man. We got to do better by setting better examples, showing people a better way, making sure our business is handled properly, and make
Hmm.
sure that we can all come home to our loved ones because, you know, it's no good. I mean, somebody's going to go to jail. Somebody's going to go, go 6 feet deep, and it don't have to be that way.
No,
We
and
don't see,
especially
yeah,
when
we
you
don't
fought
see that
so
in the
hard.
other jump.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
especially when you fought so hard to get to where you are.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, again, I want to say this has been a great interview. You're very good. And anybody want to interview him, you need to definitely hit him up. He's good. He's really good at answering questions. I have to say that. And I'm gonna try to get into some more of his fiction. Start doing some more reading, especially winter's coming up. So it's time to cuddle up, get your workout. Writers, best time to write is in the wintertime. Best time to read is in the wintertime. And
Hmm.
then pop back out this spring with some more content, some more, some more fiction. Whatever you want to do, you can do it, y'all. So whoever out there is hearing this, if this is not going to inspire you, put it on rewind. Listen to it again. It should inspire you.
Yeah.
Again, tell us about your name, the title of your book again.
Um, the first one in the series is called Peacekeeper, a Black love detective story.
Okay.
And right now there are 6 titles in that series.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Well, again, Antwan, man, great interview.
Thank you. I
Appreciate you
appreciate it,
coming
man.
up here, spend a little time with me, talking it out. And I want to tell everybody from Based Off Characters, check out my new content where I drop my one question about popular topics. I see the numbers going up. You got the Diddy. Okay, let's go to Diddy real quick here.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on the outcome going into 2025 about where this case is going?
Hmm. Okay, this is my opinion on it. And I could be totally wrong. I think that he's gonna beat it. But I think he's gonna be damn near broke to beat it. That's just what I think.
Hmm.
That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, they're gonna do him like what's the old boy who had the island?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, he's gonna be found guilty, and then he's gonna have a suicide.
You the only person I heard that said that he think he gonna beat this whole thing, all of it. I can't see him beating everything, and I'm gonna
No,
tell you the reason why.
okay.
They put a lot of effort into bringing him in, keeping him in this country, and making sure that they had enough evidence that they made sure there's no bond. And I think they did that for a reason. They got to convict him on something. They got to put something on him. When they put the handcuffs on him, that told me that they had enough to do something. He's got to pay a little something. I don't think he's going away for no life. I think he got enough evidence on people that the people going to influence the judges, the jurors. I think they're going to get to a lot of people. I think they got to get something on him, but I don't think he's going to completely beat it. I don't.
So what do you
I
think?
don't see it.
So what do you see? 5, 10 years?
I see him taking a plea. I think he's gonna take the lesser of the greater evils. He's gonna snitch it out. He's gonna give them everything they want. A lot of his assets are gonna be completely gone. Like I agree with that stuff's gone.
Yeah.
But I think his time's not gonna be an R. Kelly sentence. I think they're gonna try to do so much civil on him that they're gonna try to make him broke.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't see him doing no more than 10.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that are the accusers, especially the big ones like Cassie and them, I think they're part of the problem. You can't tell me that Cass, um, I mean, some of the big, I hate to say J Lo, some of them, when he was going through his stuff. Now I don't think he treated J Lo like he did the other girls. But like Young Miami, them newer ones right there.
Mm-hmm.
When he was snorting cocaine, when he was doing them parties, he was bringing those women were part of it, bringing people in.
Mm-hmm.
I can't sit there and say they just innocent bystanders and they were just a girlfriend sitting back. No, I think they was involved, and I think they gave up enough on him. That's why how he's in jail, and I think they got enough on him to give him a little bit of time, but not. He's gonna plea out some kind of way.
See, the thing is, where things start to get kind of convoluted and muddy water, you have a lot of people coming forward who are lying because they want to get some money.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So it makes it hard to get to the truth. Now, my own personal opinion from the outside looking in, I think he a freak. All the people who came to his parties, who stayed for the after parties, they was freaks. I see nothing different from what Hugh Hefner was doing. No different from what all these, for real, because Hugh Hefner was getting down. You know what I'm saying? So I see no different from that. But as far as him beating on women and all that, okay, now that's different. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be a fool to think Cassie was the only one he was putting hands on. You know
Oh,
what I mean? So that's a whole different situation. But all the other stuff, and I could be wrong again, but all the other stuff they talking about, like he was having sex with little kids and all that, I don't know about all that. You know what I'm saying? All of that to me sound like extra. But who knows? Anything is possible.
I mean, they're bringing it up. They're going to use that against them in the court of law. I mean, if them people, whoever that 9-year-old boy was, somebody's going to have to take the stand. Somebody's going to take a statement and they have an actual statement. They already got enough. They wouldn't bring them in if they didn't. I think they got enough to really go through with a trial. But I don't know. Yeah, the freak stuff. I think some people willingly came.
Yeah.
I think some people were down with all that stuff with the baby oil. None of that stuff was a surprise. They knew what those after parties were.
Mm-hmm.
Not the parties where you got People Magazine and all them taking a picture that before stuff. It's the after stuff in them other rooms and all that stuff when the cameras are gone.
Right.
And I do think it was somebody internally, not just Cassie. They told him about all those tapes. That's why the FBI and the Homeland Security came in there. I
But
think there was there were some people in there that helped and want to get themselves protected. And I think they went to the FBI and Homeland Security and said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you this evidence. Make sure my tape never comes out. Make sure, make sure my stuff don't come out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't deal with him no more. That was in 2000, whatever. Make sure you get my tape."
But look,
Now,
this is what I think, and I thought this long before I heard other people saying it. I thought it was the Diego brothers. Did you hear that
the
theory?
Diego bro.
The ones,
No.
the ones who own Ciroc.
Oh, oh, you know what? Me and my homeboy talked about that. Yes, that's where it started.
Yeah.
He didn't do what he was supposed to do, and they started this stuff. I
No, he was
think
no,
that
he was trying to sue them. He was trying to sue them, and he started bringing out accusations about them being racist, and that's when all this started coming up. Because I saw later on in another interview, he was on a panel. He was talking about how so George Clooney had a vodka brand. He ended up selling his vodka brand to them for $1 billion. He wanted to do
okay.
his own vodka brand outside of Ciroc, and he bought he don't think he bought the vineyard, but he went to where um he was partners with them. Like they had to give him half the money now. He did something to where he bought something from somebody else. The people who he bought it from was partners with the Diego brothers. So they had to go 50-50 with him. He had people, these are his own words. He had people fly out to where the vineyards were and look at the area where they're planting the grapes at.
Hmm.
And he saw that they were not planting enough for his product to make enough money. And that's when he started coming out with these accusations. Because he said they were trying to keep them in a certain market. He wanted to keep them in the black market.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
those was his words. They was trying to keep him in the black market. So they wasn't branding his stuff like they was doing George Clooney stuff, but they have it in the upscale, more affluent white areas. They was only keeping him in the hood and in hood nightclubs and stuff like that.
Hey.
And and right when all this started happening, that's what made me think about it. Especially when he said he dropped the lawsuit and he no longer partners with them. I'm like, who gonna do that if you feel like they robbing you? You like, I don't want no money, and I don't want to be your partner no more. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
I tell you what, man. I gotta get you back for a part two.
okay, okay,
We will get into. We're gonna get into the essence of the book writing process, characters, and then we'll spin off into a couple other topics. I do want to talk to you a little bit more about, I would say, rest in peace, Nip, too. Some of the soldiers that in rap game that have passed away, they're gone. And I do want to get you in and talk a little bit about the part two of Diddy and what could be coming here in 2025. So we're going to talk about the essence of characters because this is based off characters,
hmm
and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get in a couple other things. How about that?
yeah, that sounds great, man. I love it.
Okay.
I enjoyed this interview.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Well, again, thank you, Antwan, dropping down here, sitting down here with me, talking about your stuff, sitting down, talking to me about current events and what you got going on in the future. And I want to tell all the followers here, definitely check out his page, check out him on Instagram, check out his books, and then we're going to have a part two. We're going to get into some more stuff. So all the writers and all the readers, definitely stay tuned for a part two with Antwan here and about what he's going to be giving us as how do we create these great characters to put on page? How do we pay attention to what we're going to see in movies from these characters that kind of inspire us? And we'll get into some baby oil Diddy type stuff and all that other crazy stuff that's going on, which is great content. We can learn a lot. Um, I want to say rest in peace to my people in South Memphis, some people connected to Dolph. Rest in peace there. Rest in peace to Nip, you know, and his family. You know, there's still people behind, they're outside that still having to live without their people there.
hmm
Rest in peace to, obviously Biggie and Pac and things like that. And then, all the people coming up that's making the music now here in 2024, make sure that you keep on doing the right things and, providing the music and doing the thing that you did, that you have been God given to you, the talents that you have. Keep doing it, keep producing, keep writing, keep listening to your music and staying safe out here in these streets. And
That's
the
right.
streets have no friends out here, no friends. So
None at
remember
all.
that. I remember OG told me, he said, and I heard a lot of people say that if you're in the streets, you're a dummy. You're going to be out here, make sure that you have your life insurance. Make sure you have your whatever, you're taking care of your thing, and make sure that you take 10 years off your life, because if you're gonna be doing the stuff that you say you're gonna do, you're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get snitched on. You going, you going.
Yeah.
You're going.
I had a OG tell me, don't never do a crime until you research and find out how much time you can get if you get caught. Mhm.
I mean, people don't get too broke. Don't. I mean, even with the Dolph thing, dude got paid $800. You didn't get all your money. You should have told him. Dolph would have gave you 20 stacks. He knows a hit coming that day. Even knowing that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get your money. Now you got to serve 50, 60 years in prison for something you could have very well not even done.
Yeah.
Go tell him to do it. If you don't want, like, you didn't get front money. You just said, okay, you just go take somebody out, and then you call, oh, it's done. Okay, it's too hot. Let me get back. You know what I'm saying? It don't make sense.
He could have went and got a job.
Right. You could have made, I mean, you could drive down the street by any city now and find a job and made you that $800 you got. You could have got that in 2 weeks, and you ain't got to spend no 50 years in prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that, but we'll get into some more stuff. But again, I appreciate it, man,
All right. Thanks,
so
man. I
much.
appreciate it.
All right, and everybody, based off characters, stay inspired, stay safe, and check out my next content dropping very soon. Peace, everybody.
Peace.